Alright, welcome. Tonight we are tying the Chernobyl Ant. You can see here, I'll do a quick spin around here on the vise. You can see what it's going to look like when we are done. So this is a really large fly. So just to give you a little comparison, if you watch one of the other videos, I was tying a size 20 pearl jam. Get out my handy dandy tweezers here to give you a little bit of a comparison. So there you go. There's the pearl jam compared to the Chernobyl ant. See, the Chernobyl ant could probably eat it, but it's not the case. So we're going to tie this. It is great for warm water species if you are looking to get out and catch some largemouth bass. This season, especially in the summertime, having one of these on a fly rod can be one of the most exceptional fights for with a largemouth bass that you're going to have. So we're going to go ahead and tie these. I'm tying these on a monstrous hook, and so you can tie them down to, I'd say, a 12, even probably down to a 10. You probably could get away with tying it on a 10. But you want a little bit bigger of a hook. And so this is either 3 or 4x long, 1x strong. It's a streamer hook. And so it is rather large, if you can't tell. And so we're going to go ahead and tie right onto this hook. So tonight we're going to be using 140 denier rusty brown thread. We're going to start it right here towards the eye of the hook. A couple wraps down, tie it in place, get the excess tag and snip it off. Now at this point you can go ahead and start tying the foam on if you would like. But in this case, actually, I'll turn the vise like that. Should hopefully be a good angle. What I'm actually going to do here is I've got a piece of sparkle yarn, dark tan. It's just big and bulky, and so it'll bulk up the size of the hook for when we're trying to wrap that foam around. So I'm going to just take a piece here. I'm going to tie it in like so, running it right along the top here, wrapping it down. This will give something for that foam to bite into as well. Take it all the way back here to right beyond the point, and we're going to take it forward again like so to right behind the eye. We're going to take the excess here and just snip it off like so. Alright, so now we've bulked up the hook a little bit, which is going to be very useful for this next part. So what we're going to do, you want to get a piece of foam that is about the width of the gap. The gap on a hook, for those that may not know, is the distance from the point of the hook to the shank of the hook. So this is the gap. So on this, as you can see, this is a little bit wider than the gap. I'm going to go ahead and cut it to length, and then I'll come in and trim it. So you want about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch on either side. It's not that big of a deal at this point. Later on it becomes a bigger deal, but we also snip it off later on. So I'm going to go ahead, got a razor blade hanging back here. I'm going to trim this foam down. Just eyeballing it here. Hopefully that will be okay. We'll see. There we go. So now you can see it's the width of the gap, slides into the gap just fine. So we're going to go ahead and start with this. Try to put it evenly on here. What you're going to want to do to get it started is just kind of bend it just a little bit, flex it a little bit, do 2 or 3 loose wraps right on top of one another, and then just pull down. This is why we're using the 140 denier thread. It's not going to tear through the foam, and this is just really cheap crafting foam that you can get at Michael's or the dollar store, something like that. Don't feel like you need to spend a ton of money on foam. Foam's foam. You You can get it at different thicknesses, different sizes. You can get a whole sheet for like 99 cents. And by whole sheet, I literally mean, like, I'll show you. There we go. Like a whole sheet of foam for 99 cents. So that should be enough to last you, I don't know, forever. So now what we're going to do, I'm actually going to turn it so you can see the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to start segmenting the body. We do so again by kind of pinching and creating these segments in the body. And as the thread works its way back, we're trying to keep the wraps on top. The reason we're doing that is, I'll roll it over here, we don't want to see like any thread cutting into each of these little segments or anything like that. And so you want to do between 4 and 5 segments on your fly here, just to really get things going. And try not to punch the camera, which I do quite often. And there we go. So we got 4 segments. Yeah, I got room. We'll go ahead and do one more in the back. Some people will tell you, oh, make them shrinking in size or all the same size. Doesn't really matter. So once you get that part done, this is kind of what it looks like here. So you can adjust things to try to lay it as flat on the hook as you can get it. And there we go. So next what we're going to do is we're going to attach the first set of legs. So I have these from Montana Fly Company. Centipede legs, speckled tan, medium size, right? Because why not? I tie a lot of balsa wood, like custom made balsa wood bass poppers. Ooh, there you go. There's some good alliteration for you. And so I like using these legs because they wiggle a lot more because they're a little bit thinner. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide, I'm going to fold the leg in half. I'll show you what I mean by that. You can see it's kind of folded in half, and then we're going to find the midway section of that fold in half. We're going to tie it right in on the top. Now, I'm sure what's running through people's mind is, hey, why are you tying that right in on the top? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, you'll see why that makes a lot of sense here in a second. So next up, we're going to start adding our black strip. And so I'm going to go ahead and measure roughly and snip that off. And this is going to be, say, probably a little bit too wide as well. So go ahead and trim it down just a hair. Just a hair here, maybe. There we go. Here we go, there we go. Nice. So, now that's thinned down a little bit. You're going to run the foam through the loop. Hold it in place. And following the same wrap that you did before for that last segment, 1 or 2 soft wraps, and then cinch it down. Okay, like so. Again, all this material, as you tie it in, it's going to be pretty adjustable. So, there we go. Now, at this point, we are going to start working our way forward, but before we do that, if you are like me and tend to be blind even with the big flies, what we're going to do is punch the camera yet again, and then tie in, it's basically a, I'll call it, lack of a better term, it's a strike indicator. And so we're going to tie that in on the top, and it just makes it a little bit easier to see. Okay, so once that's in, once that is in, stretch the foam out a little so it lays flat. We're going to fold the legs and the top of the body back, and just like we worked backwards from the eye to the bend, we're going to work forwards, and we're creating an X pattern. So, as you can see, this X is all the way forward. Now, no Chernobyl Ant is complete without its second set of 4 legs. And so same thing again, fold the legs in half, find that midway point, go ahead and pinch it down here, well, not pinch it, press my finger down, tie it in place, and adjust. And I know, it's sitting on top of the fly. It doesn't make any sense, but it will, don't worry. So then we're going to make sure the back leg is out of the way. We're going to lay the foam, the black foam forward, and gentle wrap, and tug. Just like so. Then I'm going to tug on that foam, help lay it down. And our last little strike indicator is the dog wrestles and tries to eat her tail behind me. There we go. Those of us that are blind, helps to be able to see things. We take everything, we're going to fold it back just on the front end here, and do a couple wraps, grab our whip finisher, and do 4 or 5 wraps here. I'm going to go ahead and snip the thread, watching out for the legs. So now we have these 2 loop legs facing forward. So what do we do with those? Well, we find the midpoint here, just like so, and just snip. Find the midpoint here and snip. Turn it this way so you can see. So I'm going to grab, possibly, this leg here, gonna pull them forward, these guys pull them back, these guys pull them back, these guys pull them forward. You can see they're just kind of dangling. Now, you could trim these to whatever length you like. Just kind of snip them to what I typically fish out here, and it tends to work pretty well. Legs are pretty adjustable too. You can kind of see they sit there. It's a lot of fun. So, at this point, we're done. No, we're not. I'm kidding. So, what we're going to do next is taking the foam in the front, snip it off so it's even, and in the back, watch out for legs, snip it off so it's even. So what we're going to do, the camera turn this way so you can see, snip vertically to begin to round the head. The other way to do it is to cut it this way, but I find if I do it vertically, it definitely makes it a lot more even. Now the back side, obviously the vise is going to get in the way, so I'll do it from a different angle. So I kind of push up so they're even, and then just snip, push up so they're even, and snip, just like so. Go ahead and put this back in our vise, and last but not least, turn upside down, and wherever there's thread, there will be head cement. Largemouth are very aggressive in the summer out here, and so I want to make sure that this thing can withstand the destruction and abuse that will come with a nice 8-pound largemouth bass. Just kidding, never caught one that big out here. Hoping to, though. So, there we go. You can see, nice Chernobyl ant. Wonderful fly. Great fly for freshwater species. You can use it as a hopper when you're fishing for trout. I've never caught a trout on one, but I know plenty of people that have. You can tie it all the way down to a size 10. I mean, you could go smaller, I guess, 12, 14. At that point, you're getting really tiny. It's getting more into the normal ant size. And so I'd say kind of stick with the 8, 10, 12s, somewhere in that range. Great fly. Because of the foam, it's going to float on the surface. The legs are going to articulate nicely. Just kind of bounce around as you tug it. Great look. The underside looks great. Looks very bug-like. And all in all, a great fly. So, Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoy.